Okay, Caitlin, I apologize.
That's
Sorry
okay.
about that. Okay, so I'm supposed to introduce myself.
Yeah, just introduce yourself and like where you went to school at.
Okay, my name is Marina Roth. I am a second year special education teacher. I work with kindergarten through second graders, and I went to school at Tabor College, and I also are partnered with KICA for my special education endorsement.
That's great. So I have a list of questions that we're going to just run through and just you can talk as long or as short as you want about them.
Okay.
So the first question is, how long have you been teaching special needs children?
2 years. Well, it's kind of 2.25. My first day was after spring break when all the schools went remote because of COVID. So weird start.
Yeah. And then the next question, what made you choose the teaching profession and in particular teaching special needs children?
Well, I love the flexibility of the job and that I create my schedule. I get to pick like my groups and it's very flexible. I'm not in the classroom with 20 kids all day. Like I'm walking, I'm going here, I'm doing that. So I liked the flexibleness of this job and I picked working with special needs students because just kind of tugged at my heart. Like they already had these disabilities that they were having to work through and I wanted them to have a great education and not have like this disability and a hard time like at school. I wanted them to have a great education and to be part of that.
Yeah, definitely. And then the next one is like a little bit longer. So I'm going to like break it up in sections.
Okay.
So the first part of it is, how have your ideas toward teaching changed with each passing year of experience?
My idea towards teaching used to be like for a student to learn, you need to be doing your schoolwork. It has changed over the past 2 years because I've had a few students who have had a lot of trauma in their life. And so a successful school day for them wasn't getting their work done. It was, I went to all my classes. I walked down the hallway. I walked out to the car after school. And that was very hard for me because they weren't getting their work done. And I was like, well, what's the point? But it was such a big step to be able to walk down to breakfast, walk to the classroom, stay in the classroom, be safe. And so I've just had to adjust to like each kid is working on different things at the time. And while it might not be ideal, like it's a win for them.
Yeah, definitely. And then the next part goes, can you recall your ideas about teaching when you were a teacher education student? So like when you went to Tabor?
Can I recall my ideas about teaching? Barely. I think it was more, um, I didn't realize how diverse it needed to be for each kid, especially in this special education setting. I had more of a one size fits all mentality, and that's not practical.
Yeah, definitely. And so this next one's also a really longer question. How
Mhm.
does teaching with special needs differ from teaching other children? And what are some challenges or rewards you face with teaching special needs children?
Okay. Well, a lot of the students that I work with, if they come down to my room, they're so far behind their general education peers that they can't do the classwork in there. So I really have to tailor it to this is the exact phonics skill we're working on. This is exactly where we are in math. And it's like a customized lesson each week to help them progress. And sometimes we're on the same lesson for weeks. It takes longer to stick. We have the processing problems or whatever. So we work at a much slower pace and we everything's customized. We're not having to move on to the next lesson every week like you would in a classroom. We're working right where they need it to deliver the instruction. And then I forgot the second half of the question.
So what are some challenges in teaching special needs children? What are some rewards in teaching the special needs children?
So like the challenge would be customizing and finding out where everyone is, making those plans every week. Takes a lot of time if you want to do a good job.
Yeah.
That's a challenge. Um, it's a challenge to remember what services everyone has, what goals we're working on, and communicating that with the paras and the teachers. It's a lot going on at once. Some rewards are there's some of the neatest kids that you'll get to work with. Just their outlook on life is some of them is really great. very loving. And then when you do see that growth, it's like, it's the best feeling ever because you're like, wow, looking back at the beginning of the year, you could not write your name or, whatever. And you weren't potty trained, and just seeing how far they come and that's going to carry with them forever is really rewarding.
Yeah. And so the next question, what advice can you give me or anybody in teaching education right now, whether it's through Butler, K-State, or Wichita State, with special needs, for teaching children with special needs in a regular education classroom, if those who choose to go towards the regular education path instead of the special needs path?
What advice can I give you? One piece of advice I would say is really communicate with that special education teacher or with the paras. If you have questions, talk to that teacher. I think face-to-face conversations are so much easier and faster than emails if you have the time to find them in person. Also, like, the paras are in your classroom and are part of your classroom, and it's okay to tell them your expectations for when they're in your room and how you would like them to work with the students. I know, like, I have 4 paras and I'm in the resource room, so I can't see what everyone's doing while I'm in the resource room. And so I love it when the general ed teachers are like, hey, I need you to do this. These are what I need you doing when you're in here. These are the expectations. I think that's great. So they're not just my paras, they're in the general ed classrooms as well. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So next question, what changes, if any, would you make to the educational system with regards to special needs children?
Oh, man. That is a loaded question. What changes, if any, would I make? Well, I mean, it all kind of comes down to funding, I guess. We just don't have the money for things. I would love if we could have more staff members sometimes. That would be really helpful. But that's a double-edged sword because that's more people to manage and
Yeah.
goes both ways. I don't know. I would have to think about that one to come up with a better answer.
Yeah, because I can see like funding being a big part of that too, especially like where I went to school at too. It was hard a lot of times to get, for the amount of children we had and for the pairs we had, it was just not the right balance, so I could see funding being a big part of that too.
Mhm.
And next question, if you could choose another career field, and would you?
Yes. I love teaching. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I love teaching the kids. I love the time off, obviously. But there's a lot of hard things about this job, and they really wear on you. And unfortunately, right now, it's hard for me to see teaching as a long-term career, just with how the education world looks. It's really messy. There's a lot of stress, and hoping that that'll change around now that COVID's kind of dying down, but we will see.
Yeah. And so are there any comments you want to add to close the interview?
Any comments? I would just say to anybody, like, really think about the career you want to do, your skills, what you like, talk to teachers, go to schools and see what it's like. It's a great fit for some people, and there's other careers out there as well. Like, there's other jobs with kids. So just take your time to look into it and see what fits for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to say thank you so much for letting me do this interview with you. It means a lot to me and it helps a lot with my teaching career, definitely, as I'm heading out from Butler to Emporia State University. So
Ah,
it
nice.
just takes it means a lot that you took time out of your already busy day and you're already winding down your school year with just less than a month to go, just taking time out of your day for that. So just thank you for letting me do the interview with you and for letting me come to your classroom back in February. It meant a lot to me just to have an eye opener in that case.
Oh, absolutely. You can Zoom anytime. I'll answer your questions or whatever. Come back down and see us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good day.
Hey, you as well. Bye.